I opened the refrigerator and took out a bottle of water. He grabbed a slice of pizza from the fridge and took a bite. She reached into the refrigerator and took out a hamburger for lunch. Ashley placed a tray of sushi rolls in the fridge to keep them fresh. Emma opened the fridge and saw some tacos left over from last night. Hannah grabbed a container of pasta salad from the refrigerator. Olivia took out some fried chicken and put it on a plate. Sophia reached for a steak and marinated it for grilling. Ava pulled out a burrito and heated it in the microwave. Isabella discovered a packet of ramen noodles in the back of the fridge. Emily reached for a hot dog and added condiments. Scarlett took out a bowl of curry and reheated it on the stove. Zoe grabbed a lobster tail for a special dinner. Mia opened the fridge and saw a plate of nachos. Allison took a sushi roll and dipped it in soy sauce. Lucy grabbed a bowl of fried rice and added some soy sauce. Harper opened the fridge and found a rack of barbecue ribs. Alexa took out a pan of shrimp scampi and cooked it. Ariana grabbed some enchiladas and placed them on a serving dish. Lila reached for a bowl of pho and added some bean sprouts. Alicia discovered some falafel in a container in the fridge. Grace took out a plate of crab cakes and heated them in the oven. Victoria grabbed a container of pad thai and put it on the table. Samantha reached for some buffalo wings and dipped them in ranch sauce. Elizabeth opened the fridge and found a tray of lasagna. Natalie took a gyro and wrapped it in a warm pit. Madison reached into the refrigerator and took out a bowl of lobster bisque. Caitlin grabbed a plate of bibimbap and added some gochujang sauce. Brooklyn opened the fridge and found a paella dish from a restaurant. Layla took out a container of dim sum and steamed it. Chloe grabbed a donut and enjoyed it with a cup of coffee. Kaylee reached for a bottle of tea and poured herself a refreshing glass. Anna opened the fridge and saw a can of soda. Liam took out an apple from the fruit drawer and took a bite. Noah grabbed a banana for a quick snack. William reached for an orange and peeled it. James opened the fridge and found a bowl of sliced strawberries. Oliver took a bunch of grapes and washed them. Benjamin grabbed a watermelon slice for a refreshing treat. Elijah reached for a peach and enjoyed its juicy sweetness. Lucas discovered some plums in a bowl on the top shelf. Mason grabbed a pear and savored its crisp texture. Logan opened the fridge and found a bag of cherries. Alexander took a handful of blueberries and added them to his cereal. Ethan reached for a container of raspberries and added them to a smoothie. Jacob grabbed a ripe mango and sliced it into bite-sized pieces. Michael opened the fridge and found some avocados for guacamole. Daniel took out a tomato and sliced it for a salad. Henry grabbed a cucumber and started making a refreshing salad. Jackson reached for a carrot and enjoyed its crunchiness. Sebastian opened the fridge and found a bag of broccoli florets. Aiden took out a bunch of spinach and washed it for a salad. Matthew grabbed a bell pepper and sliced it for a stir-fry. Samuel reached for an onion and started chopping it. David opened the fridge and found a bag of potatoes. Joseph took out a sweet potato and wrapped it in foil for baking. Carter grabbed a can of corn and added it to a casserole. Andrew reached for a bag of frozen peas and cooked them. John opened the fridge and found a head of lettuce for a salad. Gabriel took out a lemon and squeezed its juice into a glass. Christopher grabbed a lime and sliced it for a refreshing drink. Joshua reached for a carton of orange juice and poured himself a glass. Isaac opened the fridge and found a carton of apple juice. Liam took out a bottle of cranberry juice and mixed it with sparkling water. Noah grabbed a jug of iced tea and poured it over ice. William reached for a packet of hot chocolate and prepared a warm cup. James opened the fridge and found the ingredients for a milkshake. Oliver took out a container of yogurt and added it to the blender. Benjamin grabbed a handful of strawberries and blended them into a smoothie. Elijah reached for an energy drink for a quick pick-me-up. Lucas opened the fridge and found a bottle of beer. Mason took out a bottle of wine for a special occasion. Logan grabbed a margarita mix and prepared a refreshing drink. Alexander reached for a mojito recipe and gathered the ingredients. Ethan opened the fridge and found the makings of a daiquiri. Jacob took out a bottle of rum and a can of Coke for a rum and Coke. Michael grabbed a bottle of gin and tonic water for a classic cocktail. Daniel reached for a bottle of vodka and poured it over ice with tonic water. Henry opened the fridge and found the ingredients for a mimosa. Jackson took out tomato juice and vodka for a Bloody Mary. Sebastian grabbed a bottle of sparkling water for a light and fizzy drink. Aiden reached for coconut water for a refreshing sip. Matthew opened the fridge and found a bottle of kombucha. Samuel took out a carton of iced coffee for a caffeinated boost. David grabbed a basket of apples from the fruit drawer. Joseph reached for a bunch of bananas and placed them on the countertop. Carter opened the fridge and found a bag of oranges. Andrew took out a container of strawberries and washed them. John grabbed a watermelon slice and enjoyed its juicy sweetness. Gabriel reached for a pineapple and started cutting it into chunks. Christopher opened the fridge and found a basket of peaches. Joshua took out a bag of plums and set them on the table. Isaac grabbed a pear and savored its crisp texture. Liam reached for a bunch of cherries and washed them. Noah opened the fridge and found a container of blueberries. William took out a carton of raspberries and added them to a fruit salad. James grabbed a mango and sliced it into bite-sized pieces. Oliver reached for an avocado and made some guacamole. Benjamin opened the fridge and found a bunch of tomatoes for a salad. Elijah took out a cucumber and started slicing it for a refreshing snack. Lucas grabbed a carrot and peeled it for dipping. Mason reached for a bag of spinach and washed it thoroughly. Logan opened the fridge and found a bunch of kale for a smoothie. Alexander took out a bell pepper and sliced it for a stir-fry. Ethan grabbed an onion and started chopping it for a recipe. Jacob reached for a bag of potatoes and washed them for roasting. Michael opened the fridge and found a container of sweet potatoes. Daniel took out a can of corn and added it to a vegetable medley. Henry grabbed a bag of frozen peas and cooked them on the stove. Jackson reached for a head of lettuce and started making a salad. Sebastian opened the fridge and found a bunch of lemons for lemonade. Aiden took out a lime and squeezed it into a glass of water. Matthew grabbed a bottle of grapefruit juice and poured himself a refreshing drink. Samuel reached for a container of cranberry juice and mixed it with seltzer. David opened the fridge and found a jug of iced tea. Joseph took out a carton of hot chocolate mix and prepared a warm cup. Carter grabbed a blender and gathered ingredients for a fruit smoothie. Andrew reached for a can of soda and enjoyed a fizzy beverage. John opened the fridge and found a bottle of lemonade. Gabriel took out a carton of orange juice and poured himself a glass. Christopher grabbed a bottle of apple juice and mixed it with sparkling water. Joshua reached for a jug of milk and prepared a glass for himself. Isaac opened the fridge and found a container of yogurt. Liam took out a carton of coconut water and sipped on it for hydration. Noah grabbed a bottle of kombucha and enjoyed its probiotic goodness. William reached for a cup of iced coffee and savored its caffeinated flavor. James opened the fridge and found a variety of fruit juices. Oliver took out a bottle of water and quenched his thirst. Benjamin grabbed a can of soda and enjoyed a refreshing sip. Elijah reached for a bottle of sparkling water and relished its bubbly sensation. Lucas opened the fridge and found a jug of iced tea. Mason took out a carton of orange juice and poured a glass for himself. Logan grabbed a bottle of lemonade and enjoyed its tangy taste. Alexander reached for a can of soda and indulged in a fizzy drink. Ethan opened the fridge and found a carton of milk. Jacob took out a bottle of water and drank it to quench his thirst. Michael grabbed a cup of coffee and enjoyed its rich aroma. Daniel reached for a can of soda and delighted in its effervescence. Henry opened the fridge and found a bottle of lemonade. Jackson took out a carton of orange juice and poured himself a glass. Sebastian grabbed a bottle of apple juice and enjoyed its crisp flavor. Aidan reached for a carton of cranberry juice and poured himself a refreshing drink. Matthew opened the fridge and found a jug of iced tea. Samuel took out a bottle of water and quenched his thirst. David grabbed a cup of coffee and enjoyed its bold taste. Joseph reached for a can of soda and indulged in a fizzy beverage. Carter opened the fridge and found a bottle of lemonade. Andrew took out a carton of orange juice and poured a glass for himself. John grabbed a bottle of apple juice and relished its sweet tang. Gabriel reached for a can of soda and enjoyed the carbonation. Christopher opened the fridge and found a jug of milk. Joshua took out a bottle of water and drank it to stay hydrated. Isaac grabbed a cup of coffee and savored its comforting warmth. Liam reached for a can of soda and enjoyed its refreshing fizz. Noah opened the fridge and found a bottle of lemonade. William took out a carton of orange juice and poured himself a glass. James grabbed a bottle of apple juice and delighted in its fruity taste. Oliver reached for a can of soda and indulged in a fizzy treat. Benjamin opened the fridge and found a jug of milk. Elijah took out a bottle of water and quenched his thirst. Lucas grabbed a cup of coffee and enjoyed its rich aroma. Mason reached for a can of soda and relished its coolness. Logan opened a fridge and found a bottle of lemonade. Alexander took out a carton of orange juice and poured himself a refreshing glass. Ethan grabbed a bottle of apple juice and enjoyed its natural sweetness.